I'm back. Welcome back to On the Rug. I am Nisha. So crazy because last time I did an episode was last year, 2025. So there were actually 3 chapters left for us to finish before I went on hiatus to make the record. So we had chapters 6, 7, and 8. Got to introduce my co-host back here, Miss Roxy. If this is your first time with us, she chills and she just relaxes in the back. So anyways, we had 3 chapters left, and I of course have my notes, but it's 3 chapters worth. So I'm going to pick some of the best ones for us to go over. In summary, the gist of what Kim really acknowledged is how important it is for us to create homes that are safe spaces for our children, and how much that is like a garden where we foster them for them to grow. But in order for us to be able to give them a really good safe space, it has to be a good safe space for us also. And we have to understand how to do great self-care for us in order to give them the best care. And I know that can be very difficult depending on the level of needs your child may have, but it's something that we definitely have to still prioritize in order to give our children the best care they need, no matter where they are on the spectrum. So chapter 6 was all about the spectrum of feelings. And one of the key things that I had wrote down was how to prepare for the steps that come with getting a diagnosis. Now, that's something that I really wanted to talk about, especially with us finishing up the book, because I know with autism, sometimes people don't take it that serious. We have shows like, I believe it's called On the Spectrum, and it's like a love dating show. Amazing. It's beautiful. And people can think that, wow, maybe they don't really need a disability help financially or anything like that because they just have little quirkiness, and that's not true. There are different levels to it, and there are some people that are not able to function and work it within society. So we really do need federal and government funding to continually help parents and adults that have these needs. And then you have others who are on a different side of the spectrum, and they may not need that financial help, but they may need different activities and programs. And that is for, in my opinion, whether you are neurodivergent or neurotypical, we all need some good coaching. We all need some good therapy, some good help. I'm just saying. But when you are a parent stepping into this new world of neurodivergence and you don't know anything about it can be very daunting. I know for me, I went through a phase of denial first because it's almost like grief, like you going through feeling like my child is not what I thought they were going to be. Parenting's not going to be the way that I thought that it was. So you grieve that. And then you come into this place of denial that there's anything wrong and questioning what is wrong and what is right. And all those feelings are natural and normal. But what you cannot do is suppress it so that you don't allow your child to flourish and grow and get whatever help it is that they need. I like to look at it as like in sports, because I come from a sports family. If you want to be the best athlete in the world, you need coaching. You could go play outside all day at the park by yourself and with your friends. You are not going to be pro. I'm sorry. You need coaching. And so that is in anything that we do, anything that can help us socialize better, read better, speak better, think better, just any way that we can be better, acknowledging different ways in which people have gifts to help us with getting there. So that is some inspiration I would love to give any parent that is going through that first phase of just acknowledging those feelings that are natural that you may be having, and they may not all be positive feelings. You may cry in the car some days. I know I've been there. And now in chapter 7, she talked about mindset and how vital mindset is. Okay, so she gave this example and I wrote it down because I really wanted to share it with you guys. And she said, if you go into a tennis match expecting to lose, you already lost before you ever stepped on the court. You must focus on what your child can do, what you can do, and be patient in the process. Is that not a word? That blessed me when I read that. I said, okay, Kim. Yes, because it is a process. And whether, like I said, neurotypical or neurodivergent, it is a process. And acknowledging the positives of like, what can we do? How can we work through this? What can we do better? It is nothing but up. Nothing but up from there, even through the circumstances and the things that you don't understand. In chapter 7, she also talked about how 50% of mothers expressed a decreased enjoyment of life due to stress with autistic children. And that's something that I can understand because, especially with the behavioral things, it could be a lot. It is a lot, and depending on your child's needs, it can make you feel hopeless, and that's what this space is for. That's what communities are for. That's what resources are for, because you need to do the first step of acknowledging that it's difficult and it's hard and that you're not enjoying yourself, so that you can find the resources and whatever it is that you need to help you. And so one of the things that I wanted to share with any mom who may be feeling that way, or let's say a mom who you think may be struggling with enjoying her life, Kim gave us some tools, so Nisha's going to share them with you, okay, to help the mamas. So she said meditation and prayer. I personally do both of those things. I have to daily. First thing in the morning, I listen to my gospel music. I'm the first one up. I'm listening to that. I'm watching Juanita Bynum. I am meditating before I record or do music or my work, whatever. I meditate for 10 minutes, just 10 minutes daily of that time to just allow God to just download in your mind, allow your nervous system to relax. It works wonders. So when she said that, I was like, yes, girl, I can testify to that. Breathing deeply. I do a singing exercise that has helped me, and it's like I do that a lot. You do go high and low and stuff, but it actually helps you calm your nerves. So it's a 2-for-1. Love that. Rewarding your child good behavior and building their self-esteem apparently is also something that is going to help you enjoy your life better. And I thought that was something really beautiful to share. Now, in chapter 8, she talks about this personality trait model by this psychologist named Gordon Allport. And so there's these different traits that all of our personalities apparently have. The trait number 1 is openness. Number 2 is conscientiousness. Number 3 is extroversion. 4 is agreeableness. 5 is neuroticism. And so these are the 5 personality traits that some are good, some are bad. And I really loved the way that she talked about it, because it let you know that, there's this scripture that talks about God being the potter and us being like clay, and it made me think about that when I was reading this chapter about how you can be molded. And you may start off with some traits in this type of way, but when you learn about your traits, how you can shift your habits to help your traits. So I'm going to give you an example, right? So for openness, there's a high and a low. So the high for the first trait of a personality of openness is, you have a broad range of interests. You're inquisitive about other people and places and things that have different categories. For some people on the spectrum, even neurotypical people, they may have just one interest and they only want to talk about that one interest, and they're not interested in learning about a broad range of different things. That could be whether you're on the spectrum or not. That's just a trait of some people, that they don't have a vast capacity to think about a broad range of different interests. Maybe they only are interested in 1 or 2 different things. So that really doesn't mean that there's anything wrong, but doesn't mean that's all the way right, because sometimes you need that. If you're really good at that one thing and you're an engineer, you're a doctor, that's beneficial. So that's where I'm trying to get us to understanding about the complexity of it, right? And that molding of you understanding, well, if I am only interested in 1 or 2 different things, how do I position myself in life, or how do I position my child in life to be able to do the best they can with those two interests? Or if they have a broad range, which is like a high personality level trait that make you a little bit easier to be flexible in the world because you can get along with maybe more people because of the broad range of your interests. How do you position yourself for that? Because you have people who have many different interests and they get nowhere in life. So it is about positioning your traits to the best of your abilities, right? And for your children. And so the low side of openness, of that trait, is being averse to change, lacking imagination, being unlikely to step out of your comfort zone. So going back to not being a good or bad thing, because sometimes that may work in your favor and a lot of times it doesn't sound like it would. You being adverse to change, because change is a part of life, you know, but that doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. But you may need to position yourself and build some habits that help you get used to change, that help you understand that sometimes you have to take detours and things like that. You know, you build a structure, but also make room for nuance and put that into practice. And so that is where it gets into the end of the book, where the end all be all is. We all have to continually do a lot of good work on ourselves in order to do good work as parents for our children, whether your child is on the spectrum or not. And that's what I really gained out of this book. I felt like initially when I decided to read it, I was in a very heavy space and just deciding like, okay, I'm going to, make this content to build audience for my business. And I love reading. And so I'm going to read with my audience. And this is the book that I'm going to read so I can find out more about my daughter. And I had no idea how much impact it was going to make. And I had no idea that I was going to learn about just how much more important it is for me to love myself in order to love my daughter best, and how much it is important to really look at the environment that I'm creating for her and the safe space, and how me and her father talk to each other, how I talk about myself, how I show up in the world, how all of that affects her, And so, yeah, I hope that you enjoyed the book. If you didn't get a chance to read it, you can, of course, check out all the previous episodes, go over the summaries. The next book that we are going to be reading is called The Courage to Be Disliked. I already started it, but I'm going to go back for y'all. I'm going to go back so we can all read it together. It's so good. It's so good because in this era, if you haven't noticed, I'm wearing the red heart. We are in the red era. If you haven't been on Instagram or TikTok, go ahead and follow so you can get up to speed about the era that we're in. Or if you're part of the YouTube community, I post in that feed. But yeah, we're in the red era. It's all about vulnerability. It's all about courage. It's all about discipline. It's all about us being the best we could be, but stepping out first so we could take the path to be that. And so The Courage to Be Disliked is a book. It's like a Japanese philosophy type of book. And it is all about understanding that your trauma has nothing to do with all that you can do going forward. And I was like, okay. I think we need to read that. I think we're going to like that one because I want us to have more value in these next episodes and want you to grow and be the best you can be and do amazing things in the earth. Let's get into the next segment, business lesson story time. I was just singing and writing songs, and the goal was to get a record deal and sing around the world and tour and do all those things until I decided, no, I'm going to build an experience company. The thing that I had been doing with my partner, and then we stopped and we did all this work, and I already have my music. And I'm like, no, I'm a performance artist. This is what I have been doing. And I can bring a new model and a new method of how people experience music and art and make it an experience that is scalable in person and digital. I'm going to go for it and I'm going to do this. I didn't decide that until episode 8 of On the Rug, where I crashed out. If you've seen it, I crashed out eating a Snickers bar because I did a horrible open mic performance. I could have decided to bow out and never show my face on social media again or in person. But instead, no, I decided I am going to innovate and create and build something. You make a choice. So that's where I'm sharing this lesson with you that I had to learn. We have these fork in the road moments in life, and life is constantly ticking. Now, I can tell you about times when the choice didn't work out, when I made the wrong choice. I had a situation in my ratchet days in college to work at Disney, making $34 an hour as a PA starting out. Where would I be if I would have showed up? But I didn't show up. Here I am. Thank God. He works out all things for good. But we have to face the reality that I did not get that $34 an hour and all the benefits that could have come with that from making that choice. So you got to make the choice while you have the chance. Make the good choice. Make the choice. Bet on yourself. So the next lesson, after you choose and you see, okay, am I going to build or am I going to continue to collaborate? And there's nothing wrong with collaborating, because if you don't have a vision, then you need to collaborate so that you can learn and you can utilize your skills and get better. And sometimes, like right now, I'm working for a company, I'm collaborating, and I'm simultaneously building at the same time. And eventually I will just be focused on building and then maybe collaborate. I mean, it's a constant dance. So what's most important is that you make a choice, because this is your life and your time. Number 2 is, after we make the choice, we have to take the time to think. And this is something that I learned from, I'm going to show you this book right here. It's called How Successful People Think by John C. Maxwell. Now, you may think from me sharing books and reading books with you that I've always been an intellectual, but let me tell you where my book journey began. Okay. Now, in the 6th grade, I was a reader of Zane. Okay. Sister Souljah, The Coldest Winter Ever. Cardi B, yes, I love that book also. That's where my book reading journey began. And also why, when all the Diddy stuff came out, I was already privy to a lot of those things because I was reading Zane in the 6th grade. And if you know about Zane, you know what I'm talking about. It's Zane talking about all these crazy things that are going on now, way back then. So I was already prepared for it. Yeah, so that's where my reading journey started. And I was always reading very, risque literature. Omar Tylee, also Fly Girl, wonderful book, just great Black literature. I had no idea about self-development books really, but I've always loved reading, and I've always understood that reading is a gateway into whatever reality that you want to live, and knowledge is power, right? So years ago, my husband, he had this company, this fashion brand, and he had a business meeting with Carl Kanai, who is very big in the fashion world, and they were having their meeting, whatever, and we were at this loft that Carl had in downtown LA, and he probably doesn't even remember me, but I was just there. And one of the things that I do, because I'm nosy, and curiosity is a skill that you should definitely have. It will help you a lot in this life. Now, one of the things that I do, if I go to your house, you have a nice place, or I admire what you do or whatever, first thing I'm looking around is, what are the books? Where's the books? Where is your library? Because you could tell a lot about a person, how they think, by the books that they have around, right? So they don't have any books around. You can already tell they're probably not thinking much at all. So it's not there. That lets you know. But then you see what books they have, and you're like, okay, what's going on? So I was being nosy, picked up this book off of Carl Kanai's shelf. And while they were having their meeting, I was just sitting reading the book. And he was like, you seem to like that book. And I was like, yeah, it's really good. And he gave it to me, right? This was my first self-development business kind of book. And it's led me into a journey that I am forever on now, with self-development and business, and different books that I've read now, from The Richest Man in Babylon to Don Peebles' book. I mean, just so many wonderful things this mind has now gotten from just a moment of curiosity. So this book talks about, in one of the chapters, it talks about many things, but he talks about taking the time to think. So John C. Maxwell has the luxury at this point in his life to take like a month to 3 months of time just to go out to his little special place, and he just thinks and just writes everything down, right? And so I was just like, I need to do that. And I need to build my infrastructure around allowing me to do this thinking time so that I can really have a sense of idea of what I want to do. And that's why I left on a hiatus from the show. And I left in November, and I started my hiatus from December to February. So that's my thing. I'm going to, have content things pumping out. The machine's going to work now that it's running. But before I didn't have anything, I just had to work on the project to get to and work on the infrastructure of how does the machine run? What is the system? What is the goal? Where are we going? What are we doing? So in that 3-month time frame, that's what I was doing. I was just thinking. I took time to think about, what's the next 10 years look like? What does it look like if God blesses me to be 80, 90 years old? What do I want to do? Do I want to be performing like Tina Turner on stage? Is that what I want? Do I want to build companies and then teach when I'm elderly? Because that's really what I want to do. I want to give my life to building these 2 companies that I believe will take me to be able to build more companies, but they're just going to give me everything, that foundation that I need. That's what I believe. So I'm dedicating myself to that. I had to really think about that. So whether it's a week of time, an hour, you sitting away, you getting a notebook, pad or whatever, and you really thinking about your life. Now that I'm making this choice to build this, and I know that I have a vision of something of what I want to build, I have to now take some time to think about this linear process of how do I get there and what do those funnels look like in order to bring in sales for your business or whatever it is to get to the goal. The goal in business is sales. So it's like, well, what does that look like? How does it look like me showing up every day? What does my schedule look like? How do I keep myself, you got to really think. It is not easy at all, but it's worth the while. And so that is what I also wanted us to keep in mind. We've made the choice. We've taken the time to think, and now we have got a Frankenstein, okay? Because that's what a company is. And when I start really looking at the music business, which took me to where I am building my performance art company and making art in a new, innovative way, I originally had studied in my time of thinking the music business. And I also studied studios because I originally went to film school. So I know and have all the books about how to visual storytell and how to itemize doing producing work, because my producing professors thought I would be, I had business mindset. So they're like, you would be a great producer. So put me onto some really great books on, I know how the cost of everything and how to put it together and do whatever needs to be done. Right. So I'm thinking to myself, how do I make all of this happen? You have these thoughts of, I want to do these things, but how? And a lot of times it kind of detours you. But when I start studying the business and the history of the music business, I learned that, wow, number one, these people didn't know what they were doing deal-wise. These models are not the only models that can be done. And there's plenty of room for new models. And I have a lot of respect for those who started it, because if you look in the record business was literally began by scientists and salesmen. That's the reality. A lot of artists have their gripes about their deals and everything. You are not the CEO of the ship and never will be. That's like you going to McDonald's, you feeling like 'cause you shake fries and you flip burgers every day and the people see you every day and you're the one in the uniform, that you should be making the same amount of money as the CEO that's in the corporate office. The real world business isn't set up like that, and neither is the music business. They're all the same. When I start studying that history of oh, wow, these scientists made this machine. They're like, okay, how do we get people to use this machine? We need it to project some things out of it. Okay. Salesmen are like, bruv, I got you. I'm going to get let's get some musicians, somebody on it. I'm going to get some connections. We're going to get them onto this, and let's sell these bad boys, and nothing personal. So I was like, they took the time to build that. Columbia built that. So I'm like, okay. And then I'm looking at the studio heads of the studios back in the day when Hollywood was first running. And these Polish immigrants came from nothing and came out here and built something from the ground up. They built that. Okay. You got to build, right?
That's the answer. You don't have to be trying to figure out how. Just build. Just get to it. Just get to building. And just right? So we understand that we're building something. We've made the choice. We've thought about it. We've got the machine running because it's all science. So it's like, okay, I got to do my sales stuff. I got to implement. I got to evaluate to see how I can optimize, how I can, still keep a human essence of things, but it's a game. Every industry is a sport. So you want to get in a sport that's best for you and your agility and your ability. Okay. You going, you're doing your thing, but now you're like, do I need an investor? We have to think about it this way, right? Now that you've made the choice, now that you've thought about exactly what you're going to do, it's all a lemonade stand. We have to simplify everything. We have to compartmentalize everything so we don't get overwhelmed. So don't think, oh my gosh, Nisha, you're simplifying and making a lemonade stand. No, I'm doing that to help you, okay? We have to think of it. Your thing, your product, your singing, your whatever. Like for me, I have to spend the 3 months away. I'm not on social media. That's my thing from December to February so I can make music. I write and make music all the time, whatever. But that is my time where I say it's sacred. I'm going to put it together. I'm going to make a body of work. It's not going to be just a single or just a one. I'm going to make something so that I can be made in this period of time, right? So you say, I'm going to take this space, I'm going to make the product, whatever that is, or what you're going to do, that's your lemon. You go outside, you test out your lemonade recipe, okay? Your neighbor across the street, maybe they didn't put up theirs, but you like, okay, no, I got to market a little different. Now, I'm not going to shut down because they didn't start a lemonade stand across the street. I'm going to maybe market to the other neighborhood. I'm maybe going to, okay. So you start with what you got. Start making some moves, start getting some momentum, start building start getting it going, right? Then you start thinking, maybe I need an investor. So I got a presentation for you guys. I got a presentation because I told you we're up in the level of business lesson story time. Let's get into what I prepared for you to know, is it time for me to have an investor? Do I need an investor at all?
So let's get into it so you can understand when is the best time to bring in this investor and why the timing definitely matters. Okay, so if you're watching this on the TikToks or whatever, you have to go to YouTube to watch the show to know what we're talking about. But I'm going to get into this. Anyways, phase 1, proof. Now, our example that we're giving is a lemonade stand, right? So you've got your lemons, I need proof that my lemonade is the best lemonade around this block, that it's selling, that people feel it, that people are paying for it. So remember, going back to, you got to watch the episode to understand what we're talking about, but you've made a choice on what you're going to build. You've thought about it. You've set up your strategy. You've set up how you're going to build your systems. You've gotten your systems in place. Now you're hitting the ground running to get proof of your concept to see if people feel it and are they willing to pay for it. This is a very hard step of getting the validation that we need of, do people come back and are they willing to bring other people into whatever experience that you're creating? So going back to my business, that is this experience business and doing performance art, making it to where it can scale digitally and in person. First, I, of course, have my concept, but I have to validate it through sales. I have to validate it through referrals and people returning and seeing how people have a demand for this. Because once you have that data and that proof and you have your machines and your systems working and operating, then we can go to phase 3. So phase 3 is scale. And this is when an investor makes the most sense. I know a lot of times we feel like my idea is so big that I need the capital to just get things running. But honestly, if you can't efficiently run it from where you are with just a small bit of capital to just get some proof of concept, then maybe you need to go back to that step of thinking things through a little bit more. Because when you're taking money from other people, you're also signing yourself up to be pretty much employed. And when you don't have any leverage in the situation, you're
you know, you're on the bottom end of the stick. You got the short end of the stick. Okay, so you can't be mad about a lot of things. They want you to hurry up, do all these things, and you focus on the product and trying to make sure quality. They trying to hurry up and get their money back. It's just not great. It's not going to be great. It's not going to be good. It's not going to be aligned well. So you don't even want to think about an investor until your concept is validated. You're getting your sales, you're making your moves, and then that partnership needs to make sense. Personally, in my business, for my art business, I'm after one investor specifically that I want to work with based off of their experience, what they do in the market, and the innovation that we can do. That is what my eyes are set after. If something comes out in between that makes sense on that level, I'll entertain it. But if not, I know I want this one because we are aligned. And the same thing for my healthcare business. I only partner with one investor per location for transparency and communication reasons. I believe that if we move things in a more regional type of way, it's easier to keep more quality control than quantity. So that is what we should be thinking when it comes to scale. How efficient are we without them? Because then when we get them involved, we can accelerate our efficiency. All right, so we got it. We got to build first, prove it, then scale. All right. My little presentation. Yes, we're getting more in depth. And I'm excited to share with you guys more about my journey of building these businesses. I'm so serious. My friends are like, "Girl, you are crazy." And I'm like, "Yeah, I am." Right? Like, yeah. I'm sorry, because I'm so excited about it. And it's so many emotions, so many different things. Every day is new and brings different challenges, but God, like in the Alchemist, those little omens all along the way, I'm continually to see them and enjoying in what this process is and how it's helping me grow. So I'm excited for our last segment, music updates, where I'm going to share with you a little bit about the project that I have out and sing the song Jen for you. I'm so excited to let you guys know that I am still conditioning, performing. I did a stage open mic performance a few weeks ago before I got sick, 'cause I'm just now getting better. And I didn't do the best at all, but I'm excited to go back and continue. The conditioning process is real because, you're working through nerves and learning your best techniques and just getting into your space. So I'm not there yet, but I'm almost there. I'm so excited to announce that I have released my first EP project. It is officially out and available. When I was making the project, I was studying Picasso. I read the life of Picasso while I was making the album, and it inspired me so much to think bigger and dig deeper with the projects that I made. And so I really had to think about, who do I want to be as an artist, and what do I want my legacy to look like? What do I really want? And so I also had studied a little bit about Walt Disney and George Lucas. And I felt like, you know what? I want to do my George Lucas. George Lucas really only made 3 projects. Okay. But we know him for that really great one. And I really want something like that. And so while I was making this, I said, I want this to be a continual thing. Something about the numbers 5 and 10 do something for me. And then I can always finish if it's in 5s and 10s. And so I committed myself to the next 10 years, releasing a project per year with singles like in between. But this series is my performance artwork. And I wanted to not just release a CD or an album for people to listen to, but I wanted to create a new way to experience music in the fine arts. And so as I'm studying and learning how to be a better singer, how to use my body and my voice as an instrument, I was also studying business models and thought to myself, why can't I make this a sonic installation and make this into a digital product that I can also have as a physical product? Because we also have some really great stuff coming up, some awesome products that I'm going to be releasing and things in due time. But I'm telling you, the map is there. Okay. So we're just following it, but it's more, we got lots of surprises coming. But, anyways, I really wanted to introduce a new way of experiencing music. And so the sonic installation experience is where you pay $10 on my website, nishawonderlandart.com, and you get access to my era of music, right? So right now we're in the red era. So you get all of the songs that are attached to the red era. And then I'm also going to be recording like some singles that are not going to be on the streaming platforms that will be in there. Some of them I will put on the streaming to see how they go and things like that. But it's like there's just this ongoing, evolving installation that you can be a part of that you'll also be able to experience live through shows and exhibitions that I'm going to do for the music and the art and with multimedia. And so it's a new way of investing where instead of you purchasing or downloading the music, I felt like people are appreciating songs in that same way. They almost are in the market as like jingles, and they're maybe a new way to be experienced as a performance artist. I don't know. It's an experiment that I'm testing out. So we're going to find out how this goes. Thus far, I have made sales. So we are in business. Okay. I want to continue to make the sales because, yeah, it's like you buy it just that $110 and you're able to get access to all this music continually, all my songs, and listen to them whenever you want. And the cool thing about it is, you may get in now and it's $10, but it will increase in value and the price will change because then it will grow. And I will have these different eras that you'll have access to. And some people will get in when it's more expensive. So just creating, I don't know, something new. That's my thing with it and how I'm seeing it. It's just a new, exciting way to experience performance art. So if you want to support that, definitely go ahead and visit my website. Even you streaming is a great way to support the music and support the art. The music's on Spotify, on Apple Music, YouTube Music. So definitely go take a listen. It's Nisha Wonderland, Wonderland Volume 1, The Red Era. What else? Oh, and I recorded a documentary. So I recorded my whole process of making the music, and I got the idea from Alex Hormozy. I love him and his wife and watching their content. And one of the things he said that for the new era of like entrepreneurs and stuff, he said one of the great things that we should do is to document our process and just share the raw footage with what that looks like with people as they're growing with us on our journey. And that will be the new way that founders like build a really good foundation for themselves. And so I took that and I was like, you know what? I think that's a great idea. I am going to make that a part of my ecosystem of recording these different eras of me making this music and building this business and learning this discipline and this skill set of being a vocalist. And sharing that with you all to be inspired by your dreams and your creativity and your journey, because that's what it's all about. So I hope you check that out because that is on the YouTube channel, the full documentary of me making the project Wonderland Volume 1. And yeah, so it was not easy because I had to learn mixing. Singing it wasn't always easy because I had to learn a lot of things and unlearn a lot of things to find my voice. And writing it was probably the easiest part because writing comes a little bit easiest for me. But there was a lot of challenges that made me have to have faith in a different way to release something and give birth to something in the earth. So that's another reason why I feel like Valentine's Day is my date that I want to release it, because I gave birth to my daughter on the 13th of February. And now my music release date for these projects is the 14th, at least for the next 10 years. I can't make any promises after that because maybe I'll be building companies or painting or sculpting or who knows, maybe still singing. I hope still singing and performing, but yeah, just taking the time to do that. So I want to share with you, I got some new equipment. I've got a mic and a speaker because if you know, I've used this mic for the show, but I've got a singing mic to just help the experience of when I'm singing these songs, and I hope you guys enjoy that. So I'm gonna sing this song. It's the last song on the project, and it's called Jen. This song is dedicated to my biological father. My stepdad raised me from 4 and up. Thank God for him. He was my dad. Like, I was not fatherless at all. But my biological father was unfortunately murdered while my mother was pregnant with me. And we're talking a lot in today's episode about knowing when to have the right investments involved in building and thinking. And I'm so adamant about that because I know what it feels like to lose someone who was brilliant, clearly, as you'll hear in the lyrics of the song, to a life of crime and just not really knowing the right way to go about having ambition. But there is such thing as, it's like what I'm reading right now in my visual storytelling book. Good ambition doesn't know the difference between good and bad people, right? Or money doesn't know the difference between whether someone is doing good or bad. There's just these certain things in life where you can gain its resource of its material, whether you are doing good or bad, but there is a reaping that comes with what has been sown. Right? So we have to be very careful about when we're building businesses and how we're treating the people that we work with and that we work for or that we are hiring. How we treat people is very important. How we show up is very important. How we earn our money is very, very, very important. And so I just want us to take the time to think. And I hope this song helps you not only live your American dream or wherever you're from, your nation dream, but also live it the right way. Okay, this is Jen.
He was a young black boy from the zoo, St. Lou, looking for a better way to know what to do. Then one day in jail he met a stranger. He said, hey young man, you wanna drip and go? He'll take the spot next to Sydney Gold. Good men like you should go and make it. So live it up, live it up, live it up, live it up, live it up. Take a shot for gin, the ghetto pharmacist. Live it up, live it up, live it up, live it up, live it up. Take a shot for gin, the ghetto pharmacist. He's got a big, big mind. He's an entrepreneur. Oh, that good old boy is up to no good. Oh, Lord. Place and help and favor. He's real heroic saving. Big dreams, glitz and glam ain't what it seems. In the back of his mind, he knows he's running out of time, so he's got to live it up now. Live it up, live it up, live it up, live it up, live it up. Take a shot, yeah. All that cash, be careful. All that cash, be careful. All that cash. All money ain't good money, honey. All that cash, be careful. All that cash, be careful. All that cash. All money ain't good money, honey. Live it up, live it all, live it all, live it all, live it all. Take a shot for gin. All money ain't good money. The ghetto pharmacy. All money ain't good money, honey. All that cash, be careful. 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 Live it all, live it all, live it all, live it all, live it all. Take a shot for gin. All money ain't good money. The ghetto pharmacy. All money ain't good money, honey. All that cash, be careful. All that cash, be careful. All that cash.
Thank you for watching the show. Please come again next Friday. I release an episode every Friday. I'm back at it. So don't you worry. I'm not going on hiatus until December, but I'll make sure to leave you guys some really great surprises when that day comes. So don't worry. More songs coming. So definitely get the Sonic installation so you can be all a part of that art experience. There's going to be exclusive experiences that only the collectors of the Sonic installation are going to be able to go to. There's just so many beautiful things that we got building over here, baby. So I want to say I appreciate you for watching the show. The first 40, because for years I only had 5 subscribers when I first released my one woman show, straight theater production, performance art and things like that, and just 5 subscribers for years, and then got back on the horse, getting into my music, doing my art. And those first 40 people really inspired me so much. I'm trying not to cry, but you guys inspired me so much to keep going, to write, to keep singing, to think that I could really have some space in what I'm doing. And then to see more of you subscribe. It might not mean a lot to a lot of different people because I only have 145 subscribers. But when you're an artist like me that knows what it feels like to spend your hard-earned money to rent a venue, to perform an hour-long show and nobody show up, to have even 40 people, this 145 people subscribe to my art, you guys really do not understand what this means to me. And I'm so thankful for you, and I'm going to continue to show up for you and continue to create great art that empowers you and empowers myself. And have a blessed day. Have a blessed, wonderful, wonderful week. I'll see you next Friday.